Good morning and welcome to Succah, Daf Yomi, Succah number 13. Joined by Shmuel again. And Shmuel was just talking about when Mashiach is coming.
Yes.
What's your prediction?
My prediction.
Are you Mashiach?
I'm Mashiach.
Shmuel is Mashiach and waiting.
Mashiach.
Anachnu muchanim. Remember the song by Davidi?
No.
We're waiting for you. We're waiting. We're muchan. We're ready.
That's right.
When are you coming, Shmuel?
Nice song.
When do you think Mashiach is going to come, Shmuel?
When was Mashiach coming?
When do you think
Mashiach is
going to come?
We're just talking about that. It says that it doesn't come. It comes Chadatz when people aren't ready for it. So it's impossible to know. You know what I'm saying?
You like my shave this morning?
Wow, it's nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
Very good. What happened?
I don't look so from anymore.
Why didn't you keep the beard? You look very nice and.
Listen, I don't want to take away from your glory and your kavod.
No.
Only true rabbanim could have a beard. I'm not a true rabbi.
You are. Listen, you're giving this every day this year.
Maybe I could be Mashiach. No?
That'll be a. You know what? Mashiach Dad. No one will think. Balatani. No one's gonna think.
No one would think of Mashiach, right? No.
That's what Rav Cohen said. Balatani says that. No one will know who's Mashiach. Say what? That's Mashiach. Okay.
All right, we're gonna start Yud Beis Amud Beis on the bottom. The Gemara says 3 lines from the bottom. Amar Rav Yehuda, Hani Shushi v'Shvatzri Misachin Bo. If you have these types of plants, one Shushi is a type of fern, the Shvatzri is a type of herb. Misachin Bo. You're allowed. Shvatzri.
Sounds like Schwarzer. We don't want to talk about. I don't think we should say this word here. It's not politically correct. Okay, I'm ready.
Shvatzri Misachin Bo. You're allowed to be misachech with these plants. Abaye amar b'shushi misachin, b'shvatzri lo misachin. With a fern you could. With the herb, this herb, I forgot the term article used, Angilcia herb. I don't know exactly what that is. Anyway, these things you can't be misachech. My time, what's the problem? We could do them in Aretz. It's not makabel tuma. Top of Yigim Amud Aleph. Kevan desari rechayu shavik luvenofik. Since it has a bad smell, you might come to leave your sukkah. So therefore it's a gzera d'rabbanan not to misachik with this, because you might come to leave your sukkah and you'll eat outside your sukkah and about the mitzvah of sukkah. Amar Rav Chanan bar Rava, hani hizmi v'higi misachina b'hu. Let's say you have thorns and thistles, right? They're a very thorny type of plant. It has, jagged edges. You could use it as tzchach. Abaye amar b'hizmi misachina. With thorn bush you could, behigi, thistles, lo misachin. In my time, I came with the nachi tarfayu shavik luvinavik. They also have leaves. The leaves fall off very easily. They're going to fall in your soup, right? So they fall in your soup.
Oh, don't ask about that. And then there's bugs. You know the problem with the bugs in the Succah.
You have problems with that a lot. Have you ever seen a bug fall into your soup?
I don't remember, but
if the bug fell in your soup, would you take it out and eat the soup, or you throw the soup away?
Waiter.
What would you do?
What's that bug doing in my soup?
You would take it out and eat the soup, or you would...
what would I do? Oh, you mean it fell in?
If it fell in, yeah, what would you do?
Or what?
You get a new bowl of soup, or you take it out and eat the rest of the soup?
It depends where you are. If I was in the house, I wouldn't. If it was by a company, maybe I would take it. I don't know.
Company?
I'm saying no. If you're in somebody's house.
Oh, a company with somebody else.
Yeah, even somebody else. If it's company, I would give it to the guest.
I thought you said in a company when you're eating with your associates,
no,
with
your
business partners.
I would give it to the CEO and say, "Did you have the soup yet? Here." No,
you shouldn't do that to your CEO. That would ruin your job. He'd probably fire you on the spot. All right, he says because the leaves are going to fall in and you're not going to want to leave. Let's say you have these roots of a palm tree. Next to the palm tree, a lot of roots grow, small plants, and they form a lot of different stalks. You can cut them off misachik with them. Even though they're really tied together, connected to each other, attached to each other. Even though we said in the Mishnah on Daf Yud Beis that you're not supposed to use bundles. If it's bundled by Shamayim, meaning if it grows in bundles, then it's okay. Even though the top they're spread out, they spread out from each other on top. So even though you would tie a rope around the top of them, on the bottom they're connected because they're attached. So if you do it on the top of them, that's iged bechad. That's being ma'agid, something which is already one. It's already one. That's not called a bundle, and they weren't goes on that. You can use that for schach. Amar Rav Chisda, Amar
You
Ravina.
were bundled. I missed that. Were you bundled the bundle? What does that mean?
Let's say you have a bunch of stalks, right?
Yeah.
They're attached from the ground. You cut them off the ground, right? So they're attached to the bottom, but the top of them is coming out from each other, right? They're distant from each other.
Right.
So you want to put them as schach. So you want to tie the top of them so that they'll be like one bundle in one area.
It's already a bundle. I mean, that's not a problem.
It's already a bundle, right? It's already a bundle. Amar Rav Chisda, Amar Ravina Bar Shela, Hani Dukri Dekani Misachina Bahu. Let's say a bunch of canes, not the canes you walk with. This is a type of plant. Avagav Dagidi Ninu Egi B'dei Shemaim Loshmegi. The same idea, since it was done naturally, it's not called a bundle. Avagav the Hadar Agilu Egi B'chalosh Megi. Even though you tie the other end, it's already considered attached. It's already considered a bundle. Tanya Nami Hachi. We learn like this in a brayso. Kanim v'dukranim misachina behu. If you have these canes, or you have dukranim, or poles that come to a point at the end, misachina behu, then you can use them as kanim shita. In other words, as partially you can use kanim there. Amakabel tuma, they're gedulim in aretz. A makanim shal dukranim. Let's say a bundle of these canes. Misachina behu. Amar Rav Chisda. Amar Ravina Bar Shela Hani Marisa da Agma Adam Yosef Hani de Chavasu Pesach. Let's say you have a maror. Rashi says there's 5 types of mar. He says this is the chazara, the type of chazara, it's a type of lettuce. It grows near the marshes, the agma. Adam Yosef Hani de Chavasu Pesach. If you say your mitzvah mar on Pesach, Meisive is the Gemara's question. Azov.
How did we get into this thing with mar all of a sudden? I don't know.
Good question. What's the connection?
It's the same Rav Chisda, it's the same.
It's the same on Moro.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
It is a good question. Honey, I'm reading the Agma and Yosef and Yechwazav Pesach. You also your mitzvah more. Meisiv Azov le'Azov Yavan. If you want to be Yotze, there's a couple of times in the Torah it says you need an Azov, hyssop branch, whatever. You need a bundle over there. So let's say a paraduma, when you do the sprinkling of the blood, of the ashes of the water, mixed with the ashes. So you need a bundle, in Azov, lo Azov Yavan. You have to use a hyssop tree, but not a hyssop tree which is from Greece. It's called a Greek hyssop tree. V'lo Ezav Kuk, not a blue one. Lo Ezav Midbar, not one grown in the Midbar. V'lo Ezav Romi, not a Roman one. Lo Ezav Sheish Lo Shem Lavoi. Any type of Ezav that has an accompanying name. All these have names which accompany them and they define them. It's a type of Ezav. Amar Abaye. So you see over here, it's called Marisa da Agma. They're called the Maror of the marsh. So if it's called the Maror of the marsh, so that's not considered Maror. It's considered Maror the marsh. Anything which has an accompanying name, Shem Lavoi, is not the same thing as the actual thing. So Amar Abai, how do we answer this question?
It's an imitation, you mean?
It's not what the Torah mandated. The Torah mandated Stam Maror, and you're using marsh Maror.
Marshmallow?
Marshmallows, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could be Yotze Mitzvah Maror with marshmallows. As long as you stick as long as you barbecue them enough.
Right. Yeah,
charcoal.
Okay, okay, that's getting a little. Amar
Abaye has the answer to this question. Kol shenishtan shmo kodem matan Torah basa Torah v'kbida alav biyadua aleh biyadua sheish lo shem lava. V'hani lo nishtan shmo kodem matan Torah. It's only called the shem lava, an accompanying name, if it had that type of food was called by the accompanying name before Matan Torah. But Marisa da Agma started being called Marisa da Agma after Matan Torah. V'hani lo nishtanish ma'akodem Matan Torah. That's what Abaye says. Abaye says.
But how do you know when?
It's a new trend. They started calling it.
I know, but you have to know that you have to have some sort of.
It's like coffee, like Turkish coffee. Let's say, right? You call it Turkish coffee, right? Before Matan Torah, was it called Turkish coffee? Not necessarily. It was called coffee. Then they after Matan Torah they called.
Why? Because there's no turkey.
There was no turkey.
Oh gosh, it's ridiculous.
What's the capital of Turkey?
There was no coffee either. Do you know that? It was in Colombia, wherever that place.
What's the capital of Turkey?
Turkey?
Yeah.
Couple. No what?
Istanbul, no?
No.
It's not Istanbul. But Istanbul's the biggest city there. It's 15 million people. Yeah.
15 million people.
But Ankara, I think that's to pronounce it. Ankara.
A lot of people, Israelis, are going to Turkey day and night.
You know who the head of Turkey is?
The head of Turkey?
What's the prime minister, the president? The top guy in Turkey. He's a tough guy. A Drogan thing.
Okay.
All right. You got to know this stuff. All right.
Thank you for that important information. Okay. If I ever meet him, I'll tell him that somebody in Telston who knows his name.
It's Trojan. Recipe, tight.
They have funny words on our. I know that because on our and on the dishwashing the liquid they have they get from Turkey and it has these weird words all over. You know what I mean?
You ever have Turkish coffee?
Billy. What?
You ever have Turkish coffee?
I see all the Arabs drinking Turkish coffee. What is Turkish coffee?
Turkish coffee is basically it's where they leave it's not filtered, so they basically have the particles of the coffee whole and it floats to the top, and you're sort of drinking particles of unfiltered coffee. It's a stronger type of coffee.
They sell it in America?
Yeah, I have it personally after a steak. After a good steak, I go to Entrecote restaurant over here.
Entrecote?
Yeah, the
That
restaurant.
sounds a little Turkish.
Entrecote is not a Turkish word, no.
No.
Anyway, I have Turkish coffee after the meal. It's very good after a steak or lamb
Great.
chops. All right.
That's right.
So the Gemara says, "Hani l'shnai shmayu kol man t'nor kol." Rav Amar, different answer. Hani marisa stam mashmayu. V'hai de kar marisa the agma mishum mishtakach ba'agma. He said the real name for these is called maror. It's not actually called marisa de agma. It's not called marsh maror. It's called, the reason is it's just called that because people colloquially call that maror because that's where it's found. Amar Rav Chisda, Iged bechad lo shmei eged. Rav Chisda says, if it's like we said before, if it's already singular, it's already connected, and you tie the other end together, that's not considered eged. Shalosh shmei eged. But if you have three things, that's already called a bundle. Shnayim, what if you tie two things together? Is that called a bundle? Machlokes Rabbi Yossi Rabbanan. That's not. Mitzvahs Azov, the mitzvah of an Azov, shlosha klach, and hen shlosha givolin. Three stems. Hen shlosha givolin. Givolin are sprigs, the articles. So basically, it's the plant. Three stems with three plants. Rabbi Yossi Omer, mitzvahs Azov, shlosha givolin, v'shiri of shnayim. Three plants, the shir of shnayim, at the end, b'di'evid, you could be left with two. You can start with three and you end with two. The gadum of kolshu, and out of those two that are left, you can even have a mashahu of the actual azel. It doesn't have to be a full azel. You know, the top part got cut off, it would be okay. Kolshu saka daitim, saka daitim the shar of shnayim, tchilosanam shnayim. For the fact that b'di'evid you could have two leftovers, therefore really lechatchila you could also have two. Why did they say Rabbi Yossi says three? The mitzvah, it's only a din lechatchila. Mitzvah, zekir yanveo, they have three. The Rabbi Yossi, shlosh the mitzvah, the Rabbanan shlosh l'akeh. So what's the machlokes Rabbi Yossi and the Rabbanan? Must the Rabbanan hold you need three, even with the Evid, to start off with. And Rabbi Yossi says it's only the mitzvah. The Gemara says, "Atani, it's true." Rabbi Yossi Omer Ezel Tchilas Shnayim B'Shir of Echad Pasal. If you start with two and you end with one, it's both of them it's possible. Eno kasher ajei tchilaso shlosh B'Shir of Shnayim. So you need even with the Evid to have three in the beginning. So the Gemara says epoch, the opposite. Rabbi Yossi shlosh l'akeh. Rabbi Yossi needs three even with the Evid. Rabbanan shlosh l'mitzvah. Rabbanan really you need two to start off, but the third one is a mitzvah muvkar. Tanya Ezel Tchilas Shnayim B'Shir of Echad kasher. We have a supporting brisa. The brisa is Stama, the name of the Rabbanan. Start off with two. B'Shir of Echad kasher, but the Evid it's kasher. Ve'eno pasal ajei tchilaso B'Shir of Echad. It's only pasal when you start off with one and you have one left over. The Gemara says Shir of Echad pasal. If you left one left over, it's pasal. Amr Shir of Echad kasher. We said if you start with two and you have one left over, that's still kasher. So now when you come on base, Ela Ema Ajei Tchilaso Kishir of Echad. Really, what the Brisa meant to say is that it's only possible when the tchila, in the beginning, you start off with one, like the end. Having one left over is okay. The problem is starting with one.
What does it mean, starting and ending? What does that mean?
Let's say you're sprinkling, you're using this plant, right, this azov, to sprinkle. You have to have a bundle of azov. Agudas azov, so you have to have a bundle of hyssops, these plants, right, and you're sprinkling the mechatas on people, on the tumas hames, right? You're sprinkling the water on them. So if you have to start off with three stalks, and let's say in the middle of sprinkling, one of them falls out or one of them gets ruined. So now you're left with two. Or you start with two and you're left with one, right?
Right.
That's what we're talking about over here.
That's all right.
That's machlokes. So according to Rabbi Yossi, you need to start off with three. According to Rabbanan, you don't have to start with three. It's a mitzvah and a mufkar to start with three. You can even start with two. And b'di'evid, Rabbi Yossi says, once you start already, you can be left with two. And the Rabbanan say, once you start, you can be left with one. So it's two machlokes.
Interesting. That doesn't work right. Let's say on Hadassim, let's say you start with three, and then in the middle of the pace, Succah, one of them, you could say, well, I start off with three, and I guess okay, that's a different mitzvah every day, maybe. This is one mitzvah. Well, that is different because here, every person you're sprinkling with
Listen, if you run out of hadasim, it's okay. Hashem will forgive you. You know, you can make it up next Sukkah.
Succah.
Yeah, every year you can do tshuva.
That's true.
All right.
That's true.
So the Gemara says,
do every day tshuva.
do you
Right?
do tshuva every day, Shmuel?
I do tshuva every day. I don't. No, I mean, there's a certain time to. It says before the night, before you go to sleep, you should do tshuva.
You do vidui? You ever do a vidui before you go to
Vidui?
sleep?
No, there is something to say on the Krishma. I don't say it anymore. I used to say that, you know. I mean, no?
Shmuel, you're slacking off.
Okay.
How are you going to be Mashiach if this is what's happening? We're losing on Mashiach in front of our eyes. He was going to be Mashiach, he lost it. He doesn't say vidui anymore. He doesn't say vidui, he doesn't care about the Adasim anymore.
Darish Mereimar.
All right. Darish Mereimar. Hani Esuraisa the Surah Misachina Bahu. In Surah, which is a place in Bavel, they had bundles of these branches. Misachina, you could use them for schach. Avagav the Egdal, Minyana Ba'almahu the Agda. Even though they tied them in bundles, they just did it to count it. They put, let's say, 25 together in a bundle, so you can count 25. When you went home, you just untied it. So it was never a problem. Until Gzeira is a problem of using bundles on top of your schach, because you might put it there to dry, and then you'll be nimlach, and then you'll say, I want it for schach, and tastav and also. Here we're not worried, because once you take them off, you're going to untie them when you get home, so therefore, if you're going to put them there, you're going to put them there for sale, for shade, not to dry them off. They have these conical tents the hunters used to make out of aravos. They used to make it like a kohen, like on the bottom they would tie it around and a loose knot, and on top they would have a knot also, and they would hide in these little tents and hunt birds or something like that. So if you tie, let's say you untie the upper knot, it's not considered to be an eged anymore. You can use it for schach. It's still tied on the bottom. We're talking about if he unties it on the bottom. Rav Hunbar Yeshua Amar, he says, Afilu tema delo sharlu. Even if you didn't untie the bottom knot, kol eged and also top lo shmei eged. Here it was a knot that was basically the rope was weaved through the different aravos. Therefore, when you moved it, it's going to fall out. It's going to fall from the bottom. It only stays there because it's in one place, but once it would fall out, so you don't even need to untie it.
It sounds like the canis, right?
The what?
The kindness, what everybody uses now for schach. It has this strings going through all the bamboos, you know.
It's not going to fall apart. I mean, that's a different question, right? It's not called an eged
because
because
I'm saying this teepee, whatever this little tent is also made in such a fashion that it has.
Yeah, but the ropes don't fall out of your schach when you untie them, when you unroll them.
But over
here the rope is weakly through them.
So
there the rope is really attached. When you have
it's going to fall apart.
The mats have it. It's sort of attached.
Yes, of course it's attached.
Yeah, it's not attached. That's what we're saying.
It could be. It's just very flimsy.
It's just weaved through, and then they tie it on one end, and it's meant to stay in the place where you are. Once you move it, you pick it up, it's going to fall out the whole rope.
So it's not called.
So therefore, it's not even called an eged at all. Certain vegetables that people could be yotze your mitzvah of Mara on Pesach, so now there's a complicated halacha over here. The halacha they're saying over here is you have certain vegetables used for Mara. Now you can use them when they're moist, so therefore they don't crumble, they don't go away. So therefore, technically, they could be a chatzitza. They're not makabel tuma because they're not really fit for eating. They're not really. It's not a Michael Adam. Rashi says. So therefore, it's not considered an achila, and therefore it provides a chatzitza midaraisa when it's wet. When it dries, it's going to crumble, and it's not going to be a chatzitza. So the Rabbanim or Gozer, they made a chumrah over here. They said midar mevin as a tuma lechumrah. That when it's moist, maybe as a tumah, something underneath the oil, it acts as an oil, and it transmits tumah to anything underneath the oil with it. While it's moist, when it dries up, it's not going to be. But they made exer derabanan that even when it's dry, it should be made as a tumah midarabanan. Even though when it's moist, it would be a good chatzitza, they were gozer that it shouldn't be a good chatzitza. And when you use it as schach, even though it's moist and it should be good schach, but it's possible midrabanan. The Gemara is going to say, "My time, I came in the chiyavshi parkim and after the command lays nudami." Since they're worried that it dries up very quickly and it's going to wither away, and therefore it's not going to exist anymore, or it's going to disintegrate. So therefore, there goes with their bond to use it as schach, and they treat it like avir. If you have pasul schach, right? They have schach, which is pasul, let's say something which is makabel tumor or something like that. So therefore, you need 4 tfachim of that continuous tfachim in order to pasul your sukkah. But avir pasul even 3 tfachim, 3 tfachim pasul. So they treat it even like avir, that it passes like 3 tfachim because it's already considered like it's not there.
What is this? It's like lettuce we're talking about?
We're talking about things that you can be yotzei with mortar, even though...
What, lettuce? The romaine lettuce?
Yeah, romaine lettuce, let's say, right. When it dries up, it withers away pretty quickly.
Right.
Right.
And then you're not going to have the shear. It'll just...
Right.
It's all full of... I know why, because it's full of moisture, the whole thing. The lettuce is full of moisture. If it's in the sun, finish in 20 minutes.
What do you use for lettuce? Yeah, on mortar. Mortar? What do you use for mortar?
What do you use for mortar?
You skip that one also. So you don't keep sukkahs. You don't use hadassim. You don't eat mortar. I ain't gonna be a Mashiach. We need a Mashiach over here, Shmuel. You're losing your status. Do tshuva. We need Mashiach to come back, Shmuel. Come back. Bring the gula. Aleph Beis Gimel Amun Amitachon Bring. Okay.
What is that? Okay.
Some Yaakov Shweki. That's kind of catchy. All right. The Gemara is, let's go on to the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Abba about Amar Rav Huna Botzer Lagas in Lo Yodos. Someone who Botzer Lagas, he's collecting grapes in order for the wine press. So when he rips them off the grapevine, they have, the clusters are attached to pieces of branch, right? So ein lo yados, it's not considered a yad. It's not considered a handle to transmit tumah. That if a tummy person were to touch the handle, not the actual grape, and the handle is attached to the grape, this branch is attached to the grape, the handle would not act as a yad to transmit tumah to the grape, because you don't want the yad. You don't want it there, so it's not considered a handle. He says another halacha that when you're cutting grains down in the field in order to use them as schach, so therefore you don't want the actual grain to be there. The grain is an ochel, and ochel is makabel tumah. So therefore you don't want the attachment of the stubble with the actual grain. So you don't want the handle to be attached to the actual food. So therefore it also wouldn't serve as a handle to transmit tumah to the actual ochel. The one who says Mash Ragad Amar Huna says kotzer, certainly botzer, you certainly don't want it. You don't want the branch attached to the grape because it dilutes the taste of the grape. But he would agree, Rabbi Abba would agree that by kotzer, when you're cutting grains for your schach, that would be what you would want the attachment. You want the actual food, the actual kernel to be there in order that it should weigh down the schach and shouldn't blow away. So the Gemara says, name of the Rav Menashe Bar Gada tonight. Let's say Rav Menashe Bar Gada's shita, he's the one who says about kotzer l'schach, right? It's going to make always 10 naim. Why? Based on what? The following brisa. The sanya suche teinim vehen teinim. Let's say you had branches of figs along with figs. Parchilim vehen anavim. You have clusters of grapes with the actual branches. Kashnim vehen shibolin. You have stubble with the actual grains. Machbedos vehen tamarim. You have groups of a cluster of dates along with their branches. Kulan im psolis meruba ala ochlin kshera. Im la psula. If the psolis, if the branches is more than the ochlin, and it's kosher v'schach, right? We said because the actual branches are not considered a yad. They're not considered something that you want. So therefore, they're not makabel tumah. So therefore, if it's rov, the ochel is makabel tumah, so it's possible for schach. But if you have more psolis, meruba ala ochlin, so then it would be good for schach because you have rov. And rov of your schach would batal barov, and it would be a kosher sukkah. If it's not rov psula. Rameir says adju kosher merubin ala yados ala ochlin. He says that really is considered yados. The yados are makabel tumah, so you need more stubble than the actual yados and ochlin combined. And the kernels and the immediate branches next to the ochlin, next to the kernels, you need more stubble in order to outnumber that. What's the machlokas? These 10-9. The Marsar Yesh-Lahan Yados, the Marsar Lahan Yados. Achirim hold you have Yados when you're kosher l'schach, that the actual branches attached to the kernel would be Yados. It's Makabel Tuma, and the Racham hold Lahan Yados. The Riyabba Vadai tonight, according to Rabbi Abba, who says a kosher l'schach, right? He holds Yesh Lo Yados. He holds Yesh Lo Yados, so he's going to have to hold everybody here. He's going to have to say, it's short on Machlokas Tanaim over here, that according to Reb Meir, it would be Yados. According to Rabbanan, it wouldn't be Yados. Nasher Bagada Milema Tanai. According to Nasher Bagada, we have to say it's Machlokas Tanaim. Amalach Menashe Dechuli Amma Sarvi Akotzel Succah Ein Lo Yados. Menashe could fit with both of the opinions over here in our Bryce over here. Like he says, so why is it that a mayor considers it to be a yad? The yad transmits tumah. It's considered to be transmitter of tumah. He really cut it down for eating. He cut the grain down for eating. Since he cut them for eating, that's why that the yados are transmit tumah, because you originally wanted the yados in order to help you eat the kernels, to hold on to something while you eat the kernels. And then he changed his mind after he cut it down, the Succah. Whereas the my time the Rabbanan. What's the reason the Rabbanan say it's not Yodos? If originally when it goes based on when you cut it down l'achila, it should be Yodos. The Rabbanan say since you changed your mind, so it's Mavata Yamachshava, and therefore it's considered that you did it for Succah. Is this machshava batel through this? So tomorrow we're going to continue. It's a long brisa, and we're going to prove, we try to prove over here that you can't move out of your machshava so easily. That if you cut it l'sichach, smistama, it remains, cut it l'achila, it remains as a ksisa l'achila, and it should be have a din of yados. Shkayach. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Mashiach's coming tomorrow. Shmuel's gonna bring Mashiach tomorrow.
Not me.
I'm gonna bring my camera. I'll take some pictures of you. Photo shoot.
It's all right.
All right. Bye.